It's ready. Good morning. Today is 3/15, 2022, 9:23, and this is Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your co-host, Clutch Crypto,
And I'm B. Wellington.
and we're gonna dive off into the charts because everyone's getting a little antsy and tired of just sitting around waiting and not doing anything.
Yeah, no
What
doubt.
do you see on the chart, man? Oh man, look at that green vector down there. That doesn't look good.
Well, we always start off with ETH just to let everybody know what we're looking at. So ETH has been doing its thing, man. So I mean, it's basically been chopping the range. We have slowly drifted downward into this 24, 25, 30s, 25, 40s area. Um, a lot of shorts building up. So we took out some longs again. We're building more shorts. So I mean, story's the same. We had Monday, which was a down day. Today looking like a down day as well. But New York is futures market's about to open. I expect some type of pump or some type of clearing event prior to the rate hike, because I do think we'll end up hiking rates. And we can talk about that if you want to.
So are you
But
are you talking about an upside move?
potentially. I mean, we had kind of similar events in 2020. Not similar in this back to the height, but we had similar inflation issues. Fed. We had some because I guess I should explain. If they do hike, then they're gonna have to provide some additional stimulus. That stimulus is good for crypto, right? Um, because what I'm also looking at is, unemployment's not crazy, right? So the thing about a rate hike, depending on how much it is that it's going to cause a stress on the financial system and on corporations from a borrowing standpoint. That borrowing, that increased cost has to come from somewhere, right? Which could slow growth, which could impact unemployment. But if unemployment is not a huge concern right now, then I don't see why they wouldn't do a rate hike in that regard. If people are employed, and unemployment's really not a factor, then inflation, even though it's horrible and bad things, at least people will have employment, gainful employment, in order to deal with the inflation. So, kind of based upon that, I think they'll do the rate hike. I think the initial move from equities will be to further move down. Now, whether or not crypto joins that, that's part of that decoupling conversation. But if we're following the trends, the macro trend, then that means it's going to be a negative for crypto as well. So I expect some type of rally prior to that, before we go down in the later part of this week after the rate hike has been absorbed. I
Cool.
know that was long ass explanation that is probably going to be wrong, but well, well, that's my thinking on the process. So here's the daily. We always start off with the daily. If we do pump, I've got a couple areas that I'm looking at. This is kind of my most common, your highest probability for a pump is going to be in this area, not breaking this high that we made here, not breaking this high. I mean, that's what we're trying to look at is breaking these wicks, right? So, with all the shorts that I have been building, my thought process is that they get a little bit more aggressive and get up into this area, right, to throw folks off because obviously folks are going to look at this area being the first peak, especially on the daily. Not a big deal. But if we got up to this point and started flirting around with this peak, then I think that's going to get longs, really excited about moving to the upside. We already looked at the hourly, but we didn't talk to it. Same story. We're on a downward trend, right? And so to me, when you start looking here, these are all trappings of the short. The only thing I'll say about the trapping of the shorts is that there's a viable case for us to go down. All right. I mean, we're talking about historic global occurrences, that are happening that have real impact, on the market. And so, we have to be careful to say, okay, well, they're gonna kill these shorts. Yeah, they may, but this may be real liquidity that's leaving the market based upon these global macros. We just don't know. But I still anticipate that we'll have, somewhat of a pump um, coming into the week, or maybe they save it for shortly after and then bring it back next week. I mean, it just kind of depends on time frames, timelines, things of that nature. On the lower time frame, we're below the daily open, below the 200, below the 800 on the 5 minute. So, potentially we haven't seen a cross on the EMAs on the 200 and the 800, which is what I look for in a while. And so maybe we get that uptrend happening here very quickly. It's just, I mean, this is a choppy market. I'm telling you what I think, but it's really behaving, you know,
Abnormally.
abnormally because of all the things that are happening, market wise. But the macro trend is down. I'm still in my short. I'm hedged with long just because I think we'll go up, but I have a tight stop on it, just in case we head down further. But I'm keeping at least part of that short open to take advantage of any of the downside. Now, if we hop over to, do you have anything to add to the trading view chart
No,
outside of the fact that we're dropping some more?
we are dropping.
But we've got this 50. If we can hang on to this 50, I know this is just a 5 minute, but these EMAs kind of happen in a pattern. So if we can get kind of cycle back up pattern wise, or cycle back up from an EMA standpoint, then maybe we've got an opportunity to go to the upside. And if we look at the 1 minute, I mean,
We're just
we're right
bouncing
there.
around at
We're just
800,
bouncing
250, yeah.
We're waiting on the news. So here's the funding rate. So funding rates look mixed across the board. FTX being negative. Um, Again, we always kind of pay attention to that, but we're pretty mixed across the board.
Yeah, for
Your
sure.
Bybit buddies are long.
The
So
apes. Yeah, me and the
ape,
Bybit
ape,
apes
ape,
are
aping
going
in.
along
So
right now.
so everybody, so the sentiment I would say is probably more negative than it is positive at this point. If we look at open interest, OI, right? We do also have a bunch of future options that are expiring. Uh, I might take a little deep dive on that for tomorrow's show. But we've got perpetual futures that are holding. I mean, we've been holding around this 5.5 billion, 5.4 billion. We've been holding there for a little while. If we look at, spot, I pulled this up earlier. Spot is pretty much flat, as well. We've got some uptick in this is the USD chart. This is the USDT chart. So we had price go up, OI dropped down. So we busted shorts and longs that have taken profit. But I think this is more shorts that have been liquidated on this end. But spot seems to be pretty flat, overall. We had a little bit of dip in spot, and it's kind of returned back. It's starting to return back to these levels that we were at prior to. But if this continues to go up, then we'll continue to see OI drop. Of these are shorts as price goes back up. We don't really have to talk too much about the news this week because the news is pretty been stated pretty much. But we've had things like Empire State Manufacturing Index that looks very wrong, right? Negative 11.8 compared to a 5.5 when the previous was 3.1. So I
Oh,
don't know what
wow.
that means. I'll be honest, I don't even know what that means, but I'll be taking a look at it here pretty soon. Um, but these numbers continue to reduce here, producer price index. Um, and so I won't have any thoughts on that because I don't know that much about it. But of course, Wednesday's a big day, 2 p.m. We got the Fed's fund rate that comes out, but retail sales is also big. I mean, tomorrow's just a big day, right? And then right after that Fed meeting, we've got initial jobless claims. We talked about that with inflation and Fed hike. So, mm, should be a very, very crazy week. Even though it's been so boring so far, I think
It's
we'll
been
have a lot
very
of price
boring.
action
I
coming
think
into
everyone's
it.
tired of waiting.
So we did
Well,
have
get on
futures
with it.
open. Stocks are positive, right? So we have a positive open. Gold's down, oil's down, Bitcoin's down,
Hey, hey,
right?
hey! I just wanna. Did you see how quickly oil peaked over $120 a barrel, and now we're back into double digits,
I did read about
just
that
like that.
in the sense that people are taking I mean, think about this. Oil's traded just like anything else. If you got somebody at 110, $120 oil, people are going to start taking profits off of that. I mean, that affects, actual folks that are buying oil, but a lot of that's being paper traded as well. So I would suspect that's, just like when you get in that long and you up 100%, you say, okay, let me take some profit off of the table.
Yeah,
That may be
no doubt.
that may be a part of that, as well. And so, but that's good. Gold's down. We're talking about $2,050 gold last week. Now we're at 1918. That would have been a good short. And then we've got Bitcoin kind of hanging in there as well. But Bitcoin just hasn't really moved a whole lot. I mean, Bitcoin moves in 7 to 10% moves when it really moves, and here we've been stuck in a range between two and negative 2 to 3% and positive 2 to 3%. So really, we haven't done anything. Again, we're starting to see a little bit of decoupling from the market because for the last 6 7 months we've been very in line as a risk on asset, and so you know it's one of those things we got to pay attention to as we move forward. I want this chart. This is our exo charts. Just for notes, we can see that shorts have started to increase once again. We're under the POC. POC has dropped down to 2578. So again, seeing that POC drop says we're also declining as well, and so we're below that POC. Um, you know, Conceivably we can get down to this area, into these value areas, but the play would be to get back up into the POC and then move back into these areas and kind of play around and oscillate within this area.
What's the yellow line?
The yellow line is the VWAP, right? So we're basically price wise we are underneath the VWAP. And if we want to look at it on a non-TPO basis, we're just trending along that VWAP. So we want to look at delta profile. If we want to take a closer look, we've got some here. We've got a lot of shorts, a lot of heavy. This negative delta just indicates that there's selling pressure that's there, but there's also buying within those candles as well. If you look at the bid-ask profile, you can kind of see kind of what it looks like. So you got a lot of shorts that came in here, a lot of selling pressure. I won't just call them shorts; I'll call them selling pressure. But you got a lot of shorts come in this area, as well as some longs. And so we'll just have to see if this continues to move up. Then you could potentially trap, some of these shorts that have opened positions down here, go after their liquidation rates, their liquidation price points in this particular area, and we'll see. But it's a really tricky market right now. A lot of news, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of war that's going on. So it's quite the conundrum that we're in. So I'd love to see what Bookmap is talking about for some shorter term plays, since
Let's see what we got.
I am in both long and short. So
You can't lose, and you can't win.
exactly, I'm locked into a profit. I may let one run. That's going to be the decision makers, when to let one go and when to let one run.
This is High Block Capital E chart. Let's just update it again real quick for you guys. As you can as you can see, we're still here in the middle. Our
And
cumulative,
we've had a lot of longs that just came on board.
man, dude. But I mean, they've just been. They're trying. They're trying really hard. As you can see, again, we're still down here in this this low 2,500 range that we're trading in right now. We do have some 100x liquidations down to around 2517. Again, 2,500 is a very crucial area. You'll see on book maps here in a minute. We got 8,700 orders sitting currently at 2,500. So really interesting to see what's going to happen when we hit that range. If we bounce off or we go through it. If we go through it, I would expect that we are going to be on a gut-wrenching drop, but we'll see how that plays out. Up above us, as you can see, we have liquidations literally all the way up to 2750. I actually have a TP up there at 2770 for my long I'm currently in. The big kind of breaking point, the crucial area that we need to get above first is going to be that 2612 area, and then from there we need to go ahead and break above 2681. So if we can get above 2690, we should see a little bit more movement to the upside. Again, we'll have to see what happens there. Big area that we really want to pay attention to right now, since we are currently dropping, is this 2500 area, and see what happens when we get there. Sliding over here to book map, which is just what I was talking about a while ago. Just settle in. See, we're right here. We do have some very small orders down at 2520. Again, here's this 8,726 orders currently sitting right here. CVD did decrease over the night. We were at negative about 6,500. We're up to negative 11,600 right now. As you can see, we did come up a little bit from the 12,000 we were currently at, but as you can see, this guy's trying to take back off, which would induce that we're going to be going down. And then, but what we kind of want to see is just this kind of peak up here, come back, and then we want to see the CVD go back in a more positive direction. If we want to see upside action, this continues to go into a more negative direction, I would expect us to see more downtrend action like we're currently seeing. This may just be New York opening with a little stop onto a low, so be cautious with caution. Again, we just need to pay attention to this area right now. This is the main areas of which way we're going to go. That's all I have right now for high block and book map. So that's about it.
So what's the game plan for the day?
I
mean, it looks like this. The differential is starting to move up, which would I mean, as we're dropping.
What do you mean here? Yeah. This if this goes up, that means you're going to go down. This goes down, that means you're going to go up. Everything's inversely proportional. See, so we drop.
We're heading for that 21.
We're heading
2,500.
We're heading at 2,500 for sure. So pay real close attention to what happens when we get there. We haven't had 2 days ago. We had a low that was just below that, I believe. I have to go back in the chart to find it. We did break below it. I think we got in the 24, right here. We got like 24.95, as you can see right here. So again, if we break that area, next area support is 24.44. If we pass 24.44, then expect some more moves to the downside for sure. But that's all I have at this time. Do you have anything else?
No, I think today, just like the market, I think we're just waiting to see, what's about to happen. With the funds rate and with some of this retail sales and all that stuff coming out later this week, should be a fun Wednesday, even better Thursday to kind of see. I think really once we get past this meeting, we're gonna get some real. I would say it's we'll know what the direction looks like. I think a little bit more after the meeting, after it's all been absorbed, see how the markets react. Right now it's just chopping. It's very hard to pick a direction, just because there's just so many unknowns from an overall macro standpoint.
All right. For
But let's
sure.
get into it and see what's going on.
All right, guys, that's all we have for today. We'll see you tomorrow.